حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم اللهم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. All praise due to Allah and His praise and blessings and peace be upon our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his family, his companions, and his followers until the day of judgment. I bear witness that Allah is the only one worthy of worship, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his last and final messenger. My dear brothers and sisters, we living in tough days these days. Hearing the numbers of people infected by this pandemic, COVID-19, losing people on a daily basis. Just this morning, the CDC added 2,481 losses. Just in one day. In Texas, since this pandemic happened, we have over 22,600,000 people lost their lives just in the state of Texas. Since this pandemic happened in the United States, we have over 270,000 people died. That means like what? Every 30 seconds, or in 2,481 just yesterday, just in one day. That's every 30 seconds somebody died. And unfortunately, death became just a number. Worldwide, 1.5 million. More than that, actually, died. And this is nothing new. Death has been happening every day. Yes, it became the leading cause of death in the United States now, but death is something so near to you, near to every and each one of us. In 2015, there are around 55 million people died. It's comparing to the number of birth we got, 140 million, it's not that bad, but still it's a 55 million people died. Just in 1 year. In 2019, there is 2 million deaths in US, 55 globally. 2 million in the United States. Death is something so common happen around us. And if there is nothing in this pandemic can make us more aware of how quickly things can change. And the worst change will be that you depart from this dunya, because any other change can be made up. You can recover from it. If it's an economy, you can recover from it. For losses of health, you can recover with with whatever medication. Then you come back to your strength and you regain your strength again. But the one thing you cannot recover is your life. When it comes, that's it. That's the moment of al-ihtidar, the moment of death. When the death arrives, that's where the person should be thinking about this. Young and old, men and women, healthy and those who are struggling. We have seen people recover from COVID and they are 100 years old. And we saw young people, teenagers dying. We've seen people very healthy, no complications in their health, died. So it is something that we should make as one of the greatest lessons, in my opinion, is to keep that concept of thinking about the moment of your departure alive. Something that you think of. Not to the level that paralyzes you, but to the level that it will encourage you, to motivate you, to keep you going, to do what is right, to do what is good, to prepare for this moment where you leave this dunya to the akhirah. A moment will nothing benefit you except your good deeds. When they put you in your grave, none of your wealth, your degrees, your businesses, your family members, the thing that you worry about today the most, well, most of them will not benefit you. Unless there is a child who making dua for you, or a friend making dua for you at that time. Or a sadaqah that you left behind, that you will gain the reward of it in your grave. You know, when the time of the Prophet ﷺ came to Arabia, there is a culture in Arabia at that time where the man will bring his children and will list down the great thing that he accomplished in life. And he will tell them, when you put me when you take me to my grave, with the louder voice you have, you just scream, he did this, he did this, he did that. It was nadb, yandibun al-mayyit. So they used to do that. And they will talk about his virtue, his great participation, what battles he was in, whatever he did. And even some people will pay people to write poetry about them. And in Islam, and you hire people to cry and to show sadness, and they will, tear their clothes, and they will be so sad over this. And sometimes just all fake. The more people will cry over his death, the more, great he is. And Islam came to forbid all this. And to make this niyaha an al-mayt one of the major sins in Islam. And to make the true virtue of the person is not what the people will say at that moment, but what will be seen in his record when that person enters his grave. As for the mu'min, will be proud of the record of his deeds. The kafir, the fajr, the fasiq, the wrongdoers, the evildoers, the disbelievers, the hypocrites, that will be the most terrifying moment in their life. There's a big difference between the death of the righteous and the death of the wrongdoers and the evildoers. Someone saying, don't take my soul, give me one more chance, screaming and terrifying, and one thing saying, Fiztu wa Rabbil Kaaba, I'm a winner, I'm ready to meet my Lord. فلولا إذا بلغت الحلقوم وأنتم حينئذ تنظرون. When you're around the person who dying, you see the person in front of you, but you don't see. What that means? وأنتم لا تبصرون. You don't see the angels who come to collect the soul of that person. That person will be able to see the angels. فبصرك اليوم حديد كشفنا عنك غطاءك. Today, that partition that Allah put in our eyes so we cannot see the angels, it will be removed. So in the moment of death, Allah said, telling us it will be removed, and you will see with your own eyes the angels who come to collect your soul. At that point, the mu'min will see the angels coming, smiling and welcoming, and nothing will be more beloved to the heart of the believer at that time more than meeting Allah. And the wrongdoers will be nothing more hated to their souls than to leave the dunya. يقول قتادة رحمه الله إن الكافر لا يطلب أبدا أن يرجع إلى مال وأهل وولد ولذة. The disbeliever and wrongdoer will never wish to go back to the dunya for children, family, or I'm going to miss my kids, I miss my family, I miss this, I miss. None of them will say something like that. They will only say one thing: we wish to go back to do good. to do good. Then Qatada said, فَرَحِمَ اللَّهُ امْرَأً عَمِلَ فِيمَا يَتَمَنَّاهُ الْكَافِرُ حِينَمَا يَرَى الْعَذَابِ. So be smart. Do what people will wish to do at that moment. You have the opportunity to do it. This moment is hard for everyone. But soon after the moment of death, things completely change. But as of the experience of death itself is not uneasy. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم is the best one and the most righteous. كان يضع يده في الماء البارد في ركوة فيها ماء بارد ويضعه على جبهته ويقول لا إله إلا الله إن للموت لسكرات. He would put his hand in a cold water, put the water on his forehead, and he would say صلى الله عليه وسلم, death is hard. Death is hard. It is hard when the soul departs from the body. But after that moment, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said the soul of the believer comes like what? Like when you pour the water out of a bottle. Very smooth. As for the kafir, it is like when you have a piece of cotton caught in a thorn and you try to pull it out, the thorn. Or if you have hooks, multiple hooks, and you put it in a cotton and you try to get it out, or a small net and you have the thing that you basically have your hook in it and you try to take it out, you tear the net, you tear the cotton. That's how the soul of the kafir and the wrongdoers. حتى قال بعض الصالحين رؤي في المنام. Some of the righteous people were seen in their dreams doing well. Then they said everything was good. He said yes, except the moment of death. That was hard. And he said it is worst. It feels like worse than being boiled in a boiling water. ذلك شداد بن أوس يقول ما في أفظع في الدنيا من الموت. There is nothing more terrifying than the moment of death. But after that moment, things completely different. What terrified the righteous people at that point is in what state you will die on or upon. Goodness or not. That's when the sins strike you and the shaitan strike you the most. If you are all your life allowing the shaitan to have access to you, to influence you, he will be more influential on you in the moment of your death than any other moment of your life. If you are so reluctant to abstain from the haram, so easy for you to the haram, to the sins will strike you the most at this point. Which is ulama use a term for it, يَخْذِلُكَ اللَّهِ فِي هَذَا الْمَوْضِعِ وَهُوَ أَعْظَمْ أَنْوَاعِ الْخُذْلَانِ. When Allah forsake you, leave you for yourself. As you left Him your life, doing the sins and fulfilling your desires. So the weakness of Iman and no support and the influence of the shaitan, يقول ابن كثير رحمه الله قال فهذه علامة الخسران ضعف الإيمان والخذلان وتأثير الشيطان. That will be the person very vulnerable at this point. That's why the Salihin, the righteous people, were so scared about this moment, thinking about this moment. Look at Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, and we all know who Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu is. Upon his death, he said to his daughter Aisha, قال يا بني إني أصبت من مال المسلمين هذه العباءة وهذه الحلاب وهذا العبد فأسرعي به إلى ابن الخطاب. Before I die, make sure that all the things that I took from the Muslim treasury, from the Muslim wealth, to be given back to Ibn al-Khattab. I should not die while this is in my record. When she saw her father so heavy, can't even talk, she said, لَعَمْرُكَ مَا يُغْنِ الثَّرَاءُ عَنِ الْفَتَى إِذَا حَشْرَجَتْ يَوْمًا وَضَاقَ بِهَا الصَّدْرُ. Hard when a person is dying to see that, can't even talk, can take a breath. Then Abu Bakr radiallahu anh, he was covering his face and he uncovered, he looked at her and he said, Ya Aisha, don't say that. Say better than that. وَجَاءَتْ سَكْرَةُ الْمَوْتِ بِالْحَقِّ ذَلِكَ مَا كُنْتَ مِنْهُ تَحِيدٌ. The moment of death comes with the truth. And another qira'ah, the moment of death is the moment of truth. وجاءت سكرة الحق بالموت. أسأل الله أن يرحمنا وإياكم ويحسن عاقبتنا وإياكم. أقول ما سمعتم وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. Alhamdulillahi wahdahu wassalatu wassalamu ala man la nabiyya ba'dahu wa ba'd. Umar radiallahu anhu, upon his death, said to his son, put my head on the sand, on the ground. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive me. Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, right before he died, he told his children to move away. And he said, Ya Rabb, Anta alladhi amartani faqassart. You the one who ordered me and I didn't fulfill all the orders. Wa nahaytani fa'asayt. You forbade me for so many things, I didn't abstain from them all. Walakin la ilaha illallah. That's all. That's the best I have, is my tawheed, my iman, my belief in you. Then he looked up and he was looking. They said, what are you looking at? He said, I seen something doesn't look like humans, nor it looks like jinn. Then he started reciting, and he died upon his recitation of Surah Al-Qasas. تلك الدار الآخرة نجعلها للذين لا يريدون علوا في الأرض ولا فسادا والعاقبة للمتقين. We will make the akhirah for those who are not seeking arrogance or controlling or spreading corruptions on this earth. Yes, my brothers and sisters, that's the righteous people upon their death. That's how the righteous people upon their death. Something similar to this was reported by Amr ibn al-As radiallahu anhu arda. قال أمرتني فعصيت يا رب. You ordered me and I disobey you. ائتمنتني فخنت. You trusted me with things that I did not fulfill the trust. لا عذر فأعتذر. I have no excuse. ولا قوي فأنتصر. I have no one to support me today. بل مذنب مستغفر. I'm a sinner asking you forgiveness. لا مصر ولا مستكبر. I don't argue for my sins. I don't have arrogance. I submit myself to you, Ya Allah. معاوية يقول الآن بعد الهدام والانحطام ألا كان ذلك وغصن الشباب نضيء ريان. Now, Ya Muawiyah, you are regretting. And I can go on and so many of the narration of the Salaf. The Salaf radiallahu anhum, and I will end with this. كانوا يعملون كثيرا ويخافون كثيرا ويستعدون للموت ويفكرون فيه ويخافونه. Salaf rahimahumullah, the great scholars of the Sahaba and those who followed him, they used to do a lot of good deeds and they used to fear death the most. And they think about that moment a lot. Us today, we don't do much and we don't care for it so much. It's amazing. It's not like one of us, like mashallah, I am like A+ in everything. I'm doing everything perfect. That's why I'm as if like we have a guarantee from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we will pass. As if we guaranteed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala this. Somebody said, Shaykh, why are you making it so hard on us today? You know, we see you maybe once a month in this early khutbah. Want Shaykh Kamal back. You know what? I'll tell you. Wallah, it's better to fear today and to be safe tomorrow. Some of these points, make sure that you share with your children. There is nothing, whoever fear Allah will run to Allah. من خاف أدلج يقول النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. Those who fear will run fast. Think about that 2 feet and 2.5 by 8 feet box and hole you will be left in alone. Just whatever you think will benefit you that day, make sure that you care for it today. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala end our life in goodness. We don't know when and how and where, but we would love to make sure to have control over how. That's something we can have control over by our commitment. And Allah promised those who will be consistent in good, those who will protect their tawheed, they will protect their iman, Allah will protect them in the last moment of their life. So, Ya Allah, we ask you to keep us upon the straight path until we meet you. We ask you, Ya Allah, to forgive our sins and the sins of our parents and our family. Ya Allah, grant us and our family and our loved ones Jannatul Na'im. Ya Allah, to protect us and to keep us healthy and to protect us from the evilness of this pandemic. We ask you, Ya Arhamar Rahimeen, to protect us and our family and our children and our family members, our loved one, our wealth, our businesses from the impact of this pandemic, and to make the outcome of it best for us and for the world. We ask you, Ya Arhamar Rahimin, Ya Dhal Jalali wal Ikram, to make the best of our deeds the last of our deeds, and the best of our days the days when we meet you, while you are pleased with us. Allahumma ighfir lana warhamna wa'afina wa'afu anna wa akrim nuzulana warfa fil jannati darajatina wa sahil hisabana wa yassir umurana ya dhal jalali wal ikram. Nas'aluka mudkhala sidqin wa mukhraj sidqin min hadhihi ad-dunya ya dhal jalali wal ikram. Allahumma la tamitna illa ala ta'atik wa ridwanik ya arhamar rahimin. Allahumma inna na'udhu bika min al-fitan ma shadhara minha wa batan. Thabbitna ala al-islam ya hayy ya qayyum على السنة حتى نلقاك وأنت راض عنا. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وقوموا للصلاة يرحمني ويرحمكم الله.